Grab your cup. I want to talk for a few minutes about spirituality because what prompts this conversation is a conversation I had earlier this week with a woman who said, I'm not interested in spirituality. Spirituality is not what I need. I have toxic relationships that I need to heal from. I have past trauma from my childhood. I have things that aren't working in my life. That's what I want to focus on. And spirituality is not part of that. I'm not interested. And for anybody who, if you've been in my world for a while or you've been listening to me, maybe you've heard me identify myself or read something in my bio where I share that I'm a transformational health coach. So all of the things that that person wanted to address, I do address because I've had to in my own life. Transforming your life automatically will result in transforming your health, because your physical body and how healthy you are is a direct reflection of those kinds of patterns. But I also say I'm a spiritual coach because spirituality does need to be a part of it if you really want to transform and change what's happening. So if I could sum up spirituality for you, I want you to look at it this way. First of all, it's not religion. It's not the rules and rituals that different religions tell us we need to live by. That's what religion is, a set of rules and rituals that people have come up with that said this is the way to live. Some people might find spirituality in following those rules and rituals, but it's not an automatic. Many people follow all of that and are not spiritual at all, if you know what I mean. So if I could sum up what spirituality actually is in a sentence, it is the knowing of yourself beyond your particular stories. The knowing of yourself beyond your stories. Because your stories are things like, my parents got divorced, this person died, I was abused by this person, I can never make any money, I'm always struggling, I find myself in the same toxic relationships. My body, I've been diagnosed with this issue and my body now is different. Those are the stories of your life. And most of us live around those stories. We live as if those stories are the truth about us. And we deal with those stories from our ego. So our ego is not a bad thing. We all have an ego. And the ego's job is to keep you safe. The ego's job is to help you figure out ways to cope with the circumstances that you have. But when you're only living by your ego and your ego is running your show, your ego is running your life, then you're living in those stories and you're always trying to manage those stories. Spirituality is the willingness and the growth of into knowing yourself beyond those stories, who you really are, because those stories are not you. Part of spirituality is acknowledging and accepting the parts of you that you've been hiding from the world. Not that you need to go shout it from the rooftops, but for yourself. We call those the shadow parts. For yourself, acknowledging and accepting the shadow parts of yourself, and we all have them. If you're listening to this and thinking, I don't have any shadow parts, I invite you to really sit and think. The shadow parts of yourself are the things that you've either something that's been done to you or choices that you've made that you don't ever want anybody to know about, that you've shoved down. Maybe it's something when you think of it, you cringe a little bit, or you're like, no, I don't want to remember that. So shadow parts of ourselves are the things that we think make us not good enough, the things that we think were huge problems or mistakes in our life. But when you can acknowledge and accept the shadow part of yourself, that's a huge step towards spirituality. So spirituality is knowing yourself beyond those stories, connecting. Now, for me, I believe that connecting to yourself is also connecting to source, the intelligent, divine source that created you, that is in you, that we all come from. We actually, this is how I look at it, there's like one massive soul, one divine entity, and we are each an individuation, an individualized form while we're in this life on earth to experience life. But that massive one energetic soul is in each of us. That's how I look at it. You can look at it however you want. But when I understand that, then knowing myself will be part of connecting to source. But if you're like, I don't believe in a source, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in a higher power, that's fine, because spirituality still begins with knowing yourself. Knowing and accepting yourself beyond your stories. And you have to be willing to do that in order to transform the impact that those stories have had on your life. Do you get what I'm saying? So if toxic relationships have been your pattern, if coming from roots where struggle around money has been your life, if trauma and different abuses by different people, either in your early life or ongoingly or more recently, if that has been your story, then part of healing from that and transforming that story into growth, that's what we do. We transform it so it's no longer a source of pain, but actually part of the catalyst that moves you forward. Knowing yourself deeper because of those stories and beyond those stories. So I hope that gives you a different perspective maybe than what you've thought about spirituality. That's the work that we do. There's several programs. My colleague Libby and I are starting something new in the next couple of weeks. Plus I have the foundational programs that I've always had. Return to You is a very comprehensive, intensive program. Set Yourself Free is another version of that is a little bit less intensive and also at a different price point, so it's much more affordable so that people have some options. So if you want to find out about any and all of that, please put chat in the comments so that I can send you the calendar link. It's a free conversation, and we can talk about transforming all of your stories, whatever's happened, into the person that you want to be, into creating the life that you want to have, so you're no longer living from those stories. And included in that is knowing yourself deeper, right? That's the spiritual connection. So we would love to talk with you. Go ahead and put chat, and we'll make sure that you get that link, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.